coming home, teach us where to go. So thanks for coming.
I appreciate y'all coming tonight. Bigger crowd than I thought. They said, oh, maybe 15, 20. There's some handouts going around, and they're not nearly enough, so if you want, it's kind of following what we're talking about. I show you kind of all of our, don't get one, and you just come up afterwards, you're not address, I'll send it. And the president, I have my contact information. Any questions that we leave here tonight, or you want some more information about a trail, whatever, I'd be glad to pass that on to you. So, as Heidi said, my name is Joe Cuhaj, and by day I'm a software programmer just down the road here, a little place called the SI. At night I go into so I feel fortunate in landing my very first book deal, write a book about hiking in Alabama. And so since that time, I have written a few little books. 3 recreational books about hiking. We got, as I said, hiking the Gulf Coast, hiking Missouri, and hiking Alabama. That's now in its 4th edition. And also did a little book about tent camping in Alabama, one about paddling in Alabama, which is not about corporal punishment, paddling. And the history of baseball in Mobile, which was co-titled Baseball in Mobile. So, just a few things. I'm also a freelance writer. I've written a lot for different websites and magazines. And right now I'm a freelance writer for a website called rootsrace.com. And if you go out there, I'll also have that up here, the link to that. I'm constantly putting articles up there about hiking and canoeing and biking, mountain biking, road biking. Just go out to that link there and you can read all the articles and find out even more about what we're talking about here tonight. So what we're going to talk about tonight is hiking trails around the Mobile area, specifically 1 hour away from downtown Mobile. It's a big circle. There are 22 trails in that area. A lot of people don't realize we have hiking trails here. Everybody comes down, wants to go to the beaches. But we've got a lot of hiking trails here, and we're going to take a look at hopefully all of them. We'll see how far we get here. There's a couple in Florida too we'll talk about, show you, and a couple in Mississippi as well. So that's where we're going to go. And if you have any questions, just ask. Just shoot them out, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Or you can wait till the end, or like I say, if you don't want to ask them here, just contact me. I'll be glad to talk to you about anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the very top of Baldwin County. And if you happen to have a handout or look over your shoulder, whatever, it's in the town of Perdido, right there, just a little bit north of Bay Minette. And it's the Splinter Hill Bog. Now there's 2 Splinter Hill bogs. There's the Forever Wild, that we'll talk about in a second. And then there is the Ruth McClellan Splinter Hill Bog. And that is managed by the Nature Conservancy. And this one here is really an amazing place to go in the spring from like March into midsummer. It has what's described as the most visually impressive collection of white-top pitcher plants anywhere in the world. The thing about the bog is you don't have to go far to see them. You park in the trailhead and you're there. You can see all the pitcher plants right there. They just surround you in the summertime. As you can see that picture right there on the left. But there's more to it than just those pitcher plants. There are several different types of pitcher plants in there. Wildflowers, you name it. It's a beautiful place to go. The trail is about 3 miles long. It's kind of an out and back. It uses an old dirt road to take you through most of the park. And there's only one exception to that. You cross a wetland over a bridge, and then you actually go to the bog. And if you actually follow the real trail, it's called the George Foker's Bog Trail. It's a bog trail. And my wife and I did that just the other day for our new book, and it's a bog. And it was after the rain, and we're knee-deep in water, and the dog is having a good time. And it's very deep, so you can go around that area and go down the hill a little bit to see some more pitcher plants and some other plants. But if you're adventurous, get off onto the main trail and you'll see the bog and everything that goes with it. So that's the Splinter Hill Bog Nature Conservancy. Now, just down the road from that is the Forever Wild Splinter Hill Bog Complex, they call it. And it's managed by the state, the Alabama Department of Conservation, and Forever Wild, the Alabama Forever Wild program. And this is a 4-mile loop trail, and it's got 2 entrances that you can go into. For the most part, it uses dirt roads, old dirt logging roads. This place was heavily logged for the longleaf pine trees there. And the last time I was there, this is a couple of years ago, they were just reforesting the area. It was pretty desolate the last time I was there. But the pine trees ought to be starting to come up pretty good now, so it's going to be a lot better looking. And once again, once you get to the far end, it's kind of like to the northeast side of the trail. Once again, it's just pitcher plants, white top pitcher plants all over the area. It's a really neat place. And does everybody know what a pitcher plant is? Yes. Got you talk about it. They're actually very similar to like a Venus flytrap. It's a very long tube with a flap on top, has a sweet nectar in it, and bugs, flies, they all go into the cone to get to that nectar, and unfortunately there is an enzyme in there that dissolves the flies, so they get their protein out of that. Very similar to a Venus flytrap. And you'll see those just thousands and thousands of them at both places. And like I say, this is only probably about 5 minutes down the road from the first Splinter Hill Bog. Here's one that I haven't got to go to yet, but I'm pointing it out because I've examined all the trails and researched it for a new book that we're going to be doing. The Cinto Port. It's another Forever Wild track. One thing about the Forever Wild tracks, you have to remember, most of them anyway, they also allow hunting there. So got to kind of time your seasons when you go walk. Right now, a lot of these trails are also being used by hunters. So yeah, check that out, the schedule online for the, I think it's outdooralabama.com. It's where you can get the hunting schedules for all over the state. They'll tell you if there's hunting there right now or not. But this trail, and since I haven't been there, I have to look this one up, because I'm not that good. Yeah, 6.2 miles of trail. It's a big loop trail, and it takes you to Bayou Sarah, just a big bayou that comes out of the delta. Beautiful views of that. And they used to make the old Mobile brick there as well. There's an old kiln from 100 years ago there. And you can go off on the side trail and explore that as well. So it's just pretty much a nice walk through the woods. And that's actually up in the Saraland area. This one here, Chickasaw Park. A lot of people poo-poo Chickasaw Park. You know, they can take it, they can leave it. It's a city park. It's actually a county park. It's managed by the Mobile County. It's up in 8 Mile, and it's a great family park. There's a lot to do there. You can bike ride. There's disc golf there. You can swim in the creek. You can paddle, and they have just a lot of trails there. They have probably around 14 miles of trails there that take you to Chickasaw Creek and over some nice wetlands and old cemeteries there. Myers Cemetery as well. You can explore. It's just a fun place to go. You can also do a lot of mountain biking there as well. And they have camping there. Some pretty nice campsites there. The only bad part about it is on the eastern side of the trail, it's right next to I-65. So you're about 20 feet away from the interstate. That's a little annoying when you're walking and you're hearing 18-wheelers go by. But it's part of it. Otherwise, it's a pretty nice park. Anybody been to Chickasaw? Okay, there we go. And a lot of people don't know about these trails. This is on the campus of USA. It's the Glenn Sebastian Nature Trails. And Glenn Sebastian used to be a professor of geology at South Alabama. Had him for a long, long time ago. And they named this nature trail after him. And there's actually 4 trails that intertwine. I think the longest one is 3 miles, and there's a couple of 1-mile trails in there as well. Just a really nice walk in the woods. If you're in town, you know, you want to do something, it's a perfect place to go. They've got this wetland over there at the very beginning, at the trailhead. You see all kinds of reptiles there. For alligators. Didn't find any, thank goodness. But it's right there on the USA campus, just a little bit down from the municipal park. It's a great place to go. Nice, just a nice day hike to go to. And you can take those trails, they all interconnect, so you can just make as long a trail as you want. And they're well marked too. This one here, this is the Muddy Creek Wetland Management Area. Went there the other day. I'm writing a new book called The Best Dog Hikes Alabama. And I guess it's been about 6, 7 years ago since I last hiked this trail. We were going to do it the other day. And it's all gated up. And nobody can tell us if it's open yet or not. You know, so we're still trying to find out if it's still open. But this is a really fun trail. It's 2.5 miles. If you have kids, this is perfect for them. It's a very easy walking trail. And the first half of it, it's a big long loop. The first half takes you over Muddy Creek and the wetlands over there. There's interpretive signs all along the way to teach you about longleaf pine ecosystems and the reptiles you'll see there. And then on the way back, it's a nice mossy trail. Green moss over there, especially when the sun comes through the trees. It's bright green as you're walking through there. Very easy walking. Most of it, the first half is ADA accessible too. So there can be wheelchairs down there on the boardwalk as well. And like I said, kids will have a good time there. Just playing around. It's just a free open place. The wetland is located in Theodore, and it's right near the industrial park over there by Bellengrath Gardens. And the property is actually part of a mitigation suit that the Alabama Port Authority had to take care of. They had to rebuild a wetland as part of this suit. And so they built this wetland area. And they went in there, and I don't know how many acres it is off the top of my head. It's a lot of acres, but they went in there, and by hand, all their volunteers went in and removed by hand all the invasive species of plants on every foot of that property. So it's pretty impressive. So hopefully they'll open it again because it's really a nice trail to go see.
How will we find out if it's open or not?
Well, I'm getting the number. I'm getting contacts. So if you like, I'll post that out there. I'll give my website and all, or my Facebook. You can see me out there, and I'll post it out there when we find out for sure.
Because I was planning on taking my Girl Scout troop there after Thanksgiving, and it would really be disappointing if they were lost.
It's hard to tell. It's they got the big Alabama coastal burning sign out there telling it site number or whatever, but right next to it is a state property sign, no trespassing, and nobody wants to talk about it.
There's some chairs. If anyone from the back wants to move forward, there's some chairs up here and ground space for sitting.
You don't have to gang up on it. I'm okay. I know Julie Day knows this one well. This is the Audubon Bird Sanctuary. It's on Dauphin Island. And you got a little bit of everything on here. It's kind of like the Bon Secours Refuge in a way. You've got all different types of environments that you're walking through. The nature trail there takes you over a beautiful swamp and past a little lake, little pond, just teeming with lily pads and wildflowers. You'll see rows of turtles sunning themselves on the logs. And then it takes you past Galliard's Lake. Again, just loaded with wildflowers. They have several benches around there. You can sit and look at the lake out and the birds. This is Dauphin Island is called the birdiest city in America, the birdiest coastal city. Got to get that right. They are recognized by the Audubon Society as one of the top 4 places to spot different varieties of birds in the world. So you see a lot of species of birds there. And so the trail loops through all these swamps, these wetlands around the lake, and then it takes you down to the beach of the Gulf of Mexico. And there's a nice beach walk. You can walk probably about 3/4 of a mile, I would think. Half a mile, 3/4 of a mile or so. You got the Mobile Bay Lighthouse in the distance. Just a real pretty beach to walk down. And if you get real ambitious, instead of driving to Fort Gaines to go see the historic fort, once you get to the beach, take a left, and you can walk to Fort Gaines. It's right down there. It's a real nice walk around. Is it Bienville Boulevard? I think it is right there. It takes you to the fort.
You have your bike. You can hop the ferry and jump across the bay. Yeah,
that's right. We did an article about actually biking around the bay.
Oh, yeah.
And we got some people trying that now. They're
awesome.
starting in Mobile, and they're going in complete circuit around the bay, bicycling. See how that goes. And then we're going to go across the bay. And this is absolutely my favorite place. And when people think of trails, they probably think of Bon Secours more than any other place. Bon Secours is French, and it literally means safe haven. And that's what Bon Secours National Wildlife Refuge is. It's a safe haven for all kinds of wildlife, and it's the home of several species of endangered animals. It's a prime nesting area for the loggerhead sea turtle and the Alabama beach mouse as well. And again, you're going to see lots of waterfowl there, all kinds of birds. Ghost crabs, you got to be careful when you're walking down the trail. Ghost crabs, they kind of blend in with the trail as you're walking. It's just a pretty place, and there's 4 different trails there. And the first one is the Jeff Friend Trail. Now this one's closed right now. They're rebuilding it. The boardwalks there kind of took a tough after all the storms and everything else over the years. But it's a 1-mile loop trail. It's ADA accessible. It has a gravel path at first, and then you got this big long boardwalk that takes you along the banks of Little Lagoon. And it's just a nice, pretty place to go. Great for little kids. If you want to take them outside, it's a very easy walk.
Is it dog friendly?
No, the refuge is not. Now, we had some people bring their dogs there. I shouldn't say this. They brought their dogs there, and the ranger came up and said, look, the sign says no dogs. And he said, yeah, but my dog can't read. They were escorted out. I won't mention names. Wasn't me, though. Another trail. This is the Centennial Trail, and it was built to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And this is a 2-mile one-way trail. This big, long boardwalk that takes you through a maritime forest, over a maritime wetland. Again, you've got some amazing wildflowers there. This one boardwalk is just huge. It takes you right over that wetland. And they advertise it as being a 2-mile trail online. I think they've just changed it. It's not a 2-mile trail. Don't believe everything you read. It's 2 miles one way, 2 miles back. But to get to the trail, you either have to walk halfway around the Jeff Friend Trail, so there's another half mile out and back that you have to add to it, so there's 5 miles. Or another trail we'll talk about in a second, the Pine Beach Trail. It's a mile to get to this one. So if you walk that one, now you got to do a mile up and back on that one. So that's 6 miles altogether. A lot of people go out there and don't realize that, and then they're gone 6 miles and they're pretty exhausted.
And ready for a hamburger.
Yes. And the hamburgers after that are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. But also on this trail here, and like I say, it's a really nice trail, that one long boardwalk over the wetlands. Right now, after the rains we had the other day, that's probably underwater right now. It's only a few inches off the top of the wetland. So we walked it before and he'd eaten water. Gotta watch when you go out too. If it's rained, give it a couple of days. And another one here. This is a shorter trail. It's a 1 mile out, and it's 2 miles altogether, out and back, called the Gator Lake Trail. And again, just another nice walk. It's fine beach sand, so you get a little workout walking on that for 2 miles. But it takes you through scrub pines and salt palmettos, just real pretty, butterflies all over that trail. And it takes you to the freshwater Gator Lake down at the bottom corner there. And a pretty lake. It's just nice with the sun shining off of it, shimmers. It's right across, this trail intersects with the next trail we'll talk about, the Pine Beach Trail. And there's 2 bodies of water right there. You got Gator Lake, and right across the trail, the Pine Beach Trail, is Little Lagoon. And Gator Lake is supposed to be a freshwater lake, but after all the rains and storms we have, they have salt water infiltrating it. So it makes for an interesting bunch of aquatic plants and things in that lake. And if I knew more about plants, I could tell you all about it. That's my one weakness. And finally, this is everybody's favorite trail. This is the Pine Beach Trail, and it starts right on Highway 180, and it's a 4 mile out and back trail, and it takes you through all the environments on a barrier island. It takes you through a maritime forest, down to a maritime wetland, down into the beaches of the Gulf of Mexico. And that's probably the most secluded and deserted stretch of beach on the Alabama Gulf Coast right there. This is a prime nesting area for the loggerhead sea turtle. So if you go down there in the spring, you will see the trail roped off, and they guide you down there to where you can walk, so you stay away from the nest. And they do have a volunteer program where you can go down there and monitor the nests and help them make it to the Gulf once they hatch. But it's always interesting to go down there and you meet the scientists and all who are working with all the biologists who are working with the sea turtles. And you also see remnants of hurricanes of the past. There used to be beach houses all along there as well. Hurricane Frederick took care of that. So you'll see the foundations of all the houses that used to be down there on the Pine Beach Trail. And halfway down the trail, about a mile or two down the trail, there is you can't see it too well there, but it's on the side, a two-story wildlife viewing platform. It's a great place if you bring your lunch or snacks or whatever. You just go up there, especially in the early morning, and just watch the birds and all the animals that are out there. And you got a good view up there of both Little Lagoon and Gator Lake from that spot. The other thing that I got to remember too, look at that picture down there, the sand dunes are federally protected, so stay off the students. The sand dunes are very important to a barrier island, especially during hurricanes and all. So they want to make sure that not only for the wildlife there, but also for protecting that area of the peninsula as well. And I put this one in here. This isn't, well, it is a hiking trail, but it's not a hiking trail. It's a recreational use trail. It's the Hugh Brannion Backcountry Trail, and it's in Gulf State Park, right there in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. It really is a neat place to go, though. It's a paved trail, and so we kind of don't talk about it usually. But it's still a great place to walk. There's over 15 miles of trails there that you can walk. And it actually takes you through all kinds of different environments, over ancient sand dunes, through wetlands. There's alligators there, bobcat that roam there. You never know what kind of animals you're going to see. Deer walking down the trail with you. And right in the middle of it, it's kind of like all the trails spread out from a hub. And that hub has a nature center there where they do presentations on different aspects of wildlife and plants in the area, a butterfly garden in the middle, and a rock garden. If you've got kids and they want to go bouldering, they got boulders you can climb up on, and water fountain for your dogs and you and everything right in the middle. But it's a great trip to bike it too. You can do some road biking on it, and just taking all the speed down there. And they're just expanding it too. There used to be a bunch of non-paved trails in the back of Gulf State Park, and now they're paving all those to make it all to be one part of the Hugh Brannion Trail. And so we're kind of making a loop around here, if you've noticed. So we're moving away from the Gulf now and moving up a little bit. This is in Foley, and it's a little place called Graham Creek Nature Preserve. Just a little bit down from Ola. That's your bearing right there, the amusement park. Graham Creek. And there are 3 trails there at Graham Creek, but they're expanding them now. They're starting to put more trails in. Most of the trails are wide, like old roads I used to go back there, but now they're starting to put some narrow footpaths to connect all the different trails. And again, picture plants. You go through one section on their red trail that's about 3 miles long. Big section of picture plants back there. You have to do a stream crossing, big wide stream, and with the rain you never know how wide and how deep it's going to be. It's pretty wide. And it takes you to the Graham Creek itself. Graham Creek flows down into Wolf Bay and then into the Gulf of Mexico. And a lot of people go kayaking there, and from what I understand, and Julie can correct me, a lot of dolphins, if you go down there just a little bit.
Down to Wolf Bay, there's dolphins.
So it's got a nice canoe launch there too. Great little canoe launch. It's a floating launch. So we all know where we are now, right? We're all following the circuit around here. In Daphne, you may have seen this. Maybe not. It's kind of hidden away. A lot of people don't realize it's there. It's Village Point Park Preserve. Right next to the public shopping center. There's one entrance to it, or the trailhead is a little bit down Main Street in Daphne. And again, you've got about 2 miles of trail there. It's mostly old gravel roads, but the history of the area is really fascinating. It's a really historic park. You have the Jackson oak tree. This is big oak tree that if you ever go down there and there's historians with you or nearby, it's great to listen to them because they argue if Andrew Jackson actually sat in that tree and gathered his troops up for the Battle of New Orleans. And they'll fight over it forever. But we say it is. That's why they call it Jackson Oak. So we'll go with it. As you first walk into it, we just learned this the other day from botanist Fred Nations. As you first walk in, you walk about a mile in, and all of a sudden there's a hill, big hill that drops down. Well, that hill is where the Gulf used to be, Mobile Bay used to be, thousands of years ago. And it's quite a distance from where it is now. And you get to walk over some bayous, a lot of alligators there. And after you get past the bayous, it takes you to the beaches there of the Mobile Bay. And it's a nice little island. They have a little bridge that goes out to the island. You can walk out to the bay there, walk up and down there. You can bring your dogs, but you probably heard on the news about a couple of people losing their dogs there. There's alligators there, so you've got to keep them on the leash, keep them with you. They put the signs up there, beware of alligators, and nobody believes it. They're there. And moving up a little bit further, this is a historic Blakely State Park. For a long time, the trails they were kind of getting a little bit more overgrown, a little bit hard to follow. And they got a new staff over there, and they're doing a great job of rebuilding the trails. There's about 15 miles of trails at Blakely. And the east side, you can walk along with some wetlands, nice swamps and wetlands over there, big magnolia trees. And you can walk down to the delta. There's a nice boardwalk that takes you along the delta. You can see right across the Mobile and up into the delta a little bit. And of course, the thing about Blakely, everybody knows it was the last major battle of the Civil War was fought there. And you can take the Breastworks Trail and hike to some of the best preserved breastworks from the Civil War in the South. And well, I was talking about how the trails used to be. They actually used to have the Breastworks Trail on top of the breastworks, which is not a good idea if you're trying to preserve the breastworks. But they finally moved it off, and it's a really nice walk through there now. That's Blakely. Anybody have any questions or anything? Am I going too fast? Yes.
So do you have directions to the trailheads to all these?
If you want them, whatever you want, you can just contact me. I'll get it all to you.
Or you can buy hiking the Gulf Coast.
Who is that guy?
I have a few copies.
Maggie? Can you pay him? How much you want to pay?
Joe, I just want to say something. I want to say something about Village Point.
$22.95.
But 20% off for y'all being here tonight.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm buying
Two neat things about Village Point. There's the Lee Cemetery.
That's right. See, I'm talking history and I forgot
There's
about that.
also 8 champion trees there. Or there were. A couple have been dethroned.
Mhm.
But if you don't know about champion trees, it's a great place to go look at champion trees. So.
Yep, and the cemetery is there. That was one of the first colonies on the Eastern Shore back in the 1700s.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And the tombstones there in the cemetery are in French. That's how old this is, the dough leaves and all. And if you go behind the main cemetery there, there's also the Native American cemetery down below. So it's all kinds of history in there. And I just whizzed on past that. Thank you for straightening me out. Natalie, did you go on the Perdido River hike?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was
We've
that
been a
fun?
few times.
Did you swim the trail?
I've swam the trail, literally, yes.
This is the newest trail down here, and Julie and I, and if anybody else is from AHCS, the Alabama Hiking Trail Society, we started building this thing in 2007, I think it was, and we did the first 4 miles. And then I left the organization, and a couple of other folks, Gene Booth and Bruce Zimmerman, got together. And this is the only trail that you can backpack here on the Alabama Gulf Coast. It is right now 19 miles long, the Perdido River Trail. And it's managed by Forever Wild. And this is just a really great hike. You're walking alongside of Blackwater River. It's the river that borders Alabama and Florida. And all along the bend, you got these big sandbars. And that's the biggest one right there where you see the boat going by. Great places to go swimming. A lot of fun there. And you go through some cypress swamps. And the state has put in 4 trail shelters now along the trail as well. So at the time, and I don't know if it's still true or not, you could camp on the sandbars or in one of the shelters, but you have to reserve them, and I think they cost now too. First they were free.
$25.
What's that?
Aren't they $25 to reserve them?
They think so, yeah.
And they're through, Hank Birch is in charge
Oh,
of
at
that.
5 Rivers. Okay. Reserve yours now. Really nice shelters. They're elevated, so if the water comes up or animals come up, they're screened in. So they did it really nice. And the only bad part about it is, if you watch the news the other day when we had like 100 inches of rain on Saturday and Sunday, first thing they said was the Perdido River at Barrow Park is flooded. All we need is a little sprinkle and Perdido River floods. This is a picture of that hike.
Yes.
There was a video. I couldn't get the video. But he's pretty deep. You paddle the Perdido Trail. So you got to keep a look. There is a if you go out to the Alabama Outdoor or OutdoorAlabama.com website, they link you to the gauge for the river. And normal stage is 3 feet. It was up to 13, I think, the other day. So.
That is one thing I love about it. Like every time I hike it, it feels like a different hike. It feels like a different trail. Yeah. Depending on the water level.
That's right. It's they got 3 trailheads too, and that's also on their website. I haven't been back there lately, so I'm not sure how good the roads are going back there. But they used to be kind of dodgy. You need a high-rise vehicle, something with good clearance to get back there. I think that's been improved a little bit. I think they've.
We were there a week and a half ago, I was there, and it was, Gene did not get stuck.
Nice.
Put it that way. He's notorious for getting
That's a
stuck.
plus.
Yeah.
So that's the Perdido River Trail, and it's right on the Alabama Florida line, like I say. And to get to the trailheads, it's not easy. It's not easy. You have to go, the easiest way is you go up to, I think it's exit 83 there, where the Love's Truck Stop is and the Derail Diner. You go all the way up 64, seems like 100 miles, and then you go back down Highway 112 about another 100 miles to get there. And it's a little travel, but it's worth it. That's all that there are in Alabama. That's most of them in Alabama anyway. There's probably some hidden away there.
Left off Weeks Bay.
Weeks Bay, yeah. I haven't been there in a while, so I didn't want to talk about it. It's been a while. I've seen they redid the boardwalks a little bit too. Go out further and all.
Well, and there's 2 sets, one on the Weeks Bay side, which is the interpretive center and everything that goes through a lot of the water, lower boardwalks. And then the one that goes over the picture plane on the other side of the mountain.
Right. So yeah, Weeks Bay in Fairhope.
Another closer place, a little bit closer.
So this one here is Tarkland State Park, and just a nice little walk. Takes you all through kinds of wetlands, just like everything. We have a lot of wetlands. Have you figured that out yet? It takes you all. It's mostly boardwalk. A lot of boardwalk takes you through there through pine forest, and it's a nice little walk. It's over in the Pensacola area. This one here. This was a surprise because we went over to see Fort Pickens not too long ago, and then we said, well, you get them for the same price. It's a national park, So if you pay your $15 to get in, you also get into the other fort that's across the bay, so there's Fort Barrancas. And between, there's not only Fort Barrancas, but there's these ancillary forts as well. They don't let people go into those very often. They have special days where they let you into these other smaller forts. And there's just a nice, like 3/4 of a mile one-way trail, a mile and a half back and forth between the fort and these smaller forts. Just takes you through the forest. You got some saw palmetto and it's a pretty little walk. And then you got some neat stuff at the end to go see at the end, the forts themselves. And this one here, Fort Pickens. It's closed right now. They kind of did that in, took out the roads down there, so it's closed probably until January, I believe they said. And you can drive right up to the fort, but that's no fun. There's a place called, there's a little battery that was used during World War II for armaments, for training and things like that. And if you park there, you can walk 2 miles from there through some amazing bayous, along the bayous, along Pensacola Bay, and just lots of birds, lots of wildflowers, butterflies, and then you walk up to the historic Fort Pickens right there. So don't drive, walk there. And you're using actually a piece of the Florida Trail that starts down in Key West, Florida, goes all the way up to Pensacola. So this is actually the last part of the Florida Trail as you're coming up there. This is a very pretty park. This is right there in Pensacola, big lagoon. And they've got a long trail that goes all the way around the lagoon, but this is yeah, that's what it's called. We just call this the Big Lagoon out and back in the book. And basically it just takes you through scenes like this, and you've got these blue herons that just sit there waiting for their pictures to be taken as you come through. Really picturesque. They got these pavilions alongside the bayou itself that you can go see. It's a tough little walk. It's all fine beach sand the whole way in and out. No shade. You got scrub pines there and a few scrub oaks, and that's about it for shade. But at the end of it, when you get to the turnaround point, you're out here on the right there in the lagoon there, out towards the Gulf. That's out that way. And you've got this 3-story observation tower. You can find great views of all the water. The Gulf itself, and there's a swimming beach there too, so it's worth your while to walk out there. How many of you know there's a trail at the Mississippi Welcome Center? Did you know that? Yeah, we didn't either. We were doing the book on hiking the Gulf Coast, and we stopped at the rest center, going from Alabama to Mississippi, and oh my God, there's a sign there. Escatapa Trail, and it's a great place to stretch your legs. It's about a mile, 1.4 mile loop trail through some swamps, a couple of wetlands, and along the banks of the Escatapa River right there. So if you need to stretch your legs, you go to the Welcome Center and go to the very far left side, and you'll see that gate, the Escatapa Trail. Going to Mississippi, huh? Was I surprised? And this is the part of the Sandhill Crane National Wildlife Refuge, and it's about a 1.5 mile loop too. And again, you have boardwalks that takes you out to one of the rivers out there. Davis, I believe that is Davis Bayou. And the thing about this trail is it's just loaded with wildflowers. It's in Gaucher and near Gaucher, and it's just lined with wildflowers. It's an amazing color in the springtime there. And not too far of a drive. That's the thing I said about an hour drive from Mobile, well, Fort Pickens is good.
And even at the visitor center at the Sandhill Crane Refuge, there's just a 3/4 of a mile loop, and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
And so that's basically the trails here in our Mobile. So, do we have any questions? I hope I have some answers.
I have a question about the Perdido Trail. Is that a loop or is that in and out? Or?
Yeah, it's just a straight out and back. So if you want to do all 20 miles You'd have to have a shuttle at the end, or you'd have to do 40 to go out and back. So. Yes.
Season that you would recommend more in the spring or?
I just like all the ones in Bon Secours. They're just, they're kind of always changing with all the wildflowers you see there and the type of wildlife and the birds that come in and out. It's always changing. So yeah, I would, that's my favorite. It's Bon Secours.
In the spring, in the season, is what I'm asking. What seasons do you recommend?
Oh.
Or
Well,
not in the middle of the summer? But
no, no. I was just talking to Bill over here when we were writing that book, Best Dog Hikes in Alabama. I have a black lab. You don't do that in the summer with a Labrador. You can probably get away with that, all the way up through. Now it's starting to cool off finally. October all the way up through May probably. Only problem around here too is we have nasty yellow fly season in early summer, late spring, early summer. You'll be chased by yellow flies. I don't know anything that can get rid of that yellow flies. If anybody knows, let me know.
The Portillo River Trail, you said it was a backpacking trail?
Yeah, you can do it as a day hike as well. What we usually do is we go to the South Trailhead, that's closer towards the interstate, and we do 2 miles up to the big sandbar that you saw in that picture, and then back. So that's just a nice couple-hour walk.
Do they have designated camping sites there, or?
Well, that's what I said. I think they've just changed where you're not supposed to camp on the sandbars. I don't think they're going to argue about it. They're going to stop you. But they have those 4 trail shelters there.
Okay.
That have to be reserved. And so you're also dealing with paddlers coming through. That's part of the Portillo River Canoe Trail now, too. So you're sharing the shelter space.
I heard that those shelters were hikers only. Have they changed that and it's for paddlers too? Or is it the opposite way? It
was for paddlers only, now
For
they
paddlers
hikers.
Okay, okay, good.
What is your favorite trail within this 1 hour limit? Favorite trail for camping overnight?
For camping?
Yeah, or do you have one?
That's a good question because most of these are no camping.
Okay.
Blakely.
Yeah, Blakely.
Yeah, it's okay.
Go down the road toward the end,
Fair enough.
they have nights, and they have hot showers too,
Yeah.
at Chickasaw.
So Blakely, I think that's about the only two that you can actually camp on unless you go out into the woods there at Perdido.
Covertly camp.
Yeah. Stealth camping.
What about hammocking?
Yeah.
You can?
They changed it about a year ago.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Anybody else?
Does Ground Creek not have camping?
Yeah, they do. They have primitive camping. They definitely through the city. Yeah, Leslie, the last name is
Which one is that?
Graham Creek Preserve in Foley. They have a primitive site in the back that Boy Scouts and all use. I'm not in charge of that. You just have to reserve it. Just call the city of Foley and they'll set it up.
These that you mentioned, which ones that you know of are non-friendly?
Every single one except for the Bon Secours. Even Dolphin Island. The beaches are dog friendly there. They ask you to keep them on a leash and clean up after them, but you can bring your dogs to every one of them.
Well, Dolphin Island has a campground.
That's true.
They do.
Yeah, right
The
outside.
campground on the north side, there's a campground. Only campers. You would not a tent person coming there.
The city tents there before.
What? On the north side? They have.
On the north side, I'm talking about on the,
on the south.
on the bay side.
Oh,
Come
okay.
in.
No, yeah, I'm talking about.
Kayak launch, the new kayak launch on the north side.
What were you saying?
I'm saying that they do have tent sites at Dolphin Island.
Yeah, they do
At
have
their
them down on
campground.
the
Good.
Yeah,
beach
down,
side.
yeah, by the birds.
Can we start a paper to go around to get emails if they want you to send them info? Will that work? Everybody got a
This is
Anybody
this is
down
the
there?
only information
I
you
think-
need to know about me. That's my life right there. That first website there, Route Trade, that's where all my articles are posted. So we got all kinds of articles about the Perdido River Trail and just about every other trail for hiking, canoeing, whatever. Then there's my website, and if you want to get a hold of me by email, that's my email address. I'll be glad to talk to you. I got some business cards up here too, the phone numbers and all. I'll talk to you anybody.
Thank you so much.
And, I'm sorry again we didn't have enough handouts, but if you'd like to give me your email address, I'll be okay.
Oh, thank you.
If you'd like one, I can email it to you. That's fine. Just give me your email address.
Can we just,
And
using your email address, can we just send you an email
yeah,
and ask for some information that way?
either way,
That way you have our email address as well, right?
that's fine. That's fine. We can do that. And
The other thing is, we will also post this printout that Joe has made for us. If you're on our event page on Facebook, we'll add it on there so you can get it off of there too. So, yeah. Awesome. Thanks for being here. You guys, you get 20% off if you need to do any shopping today. And also keep in mind, just to tell you about a few things we do in the store. On Thursday mornings, we have free yoga here from 8:30 to 9:30. And then on Thursday nights, we have a run-walk club. You can run, you can walk, you can crawl, whatever. It's as always, pet-friendly here, kid-friendly. We have a 3-mile route and a 1-mile route. And also, when you come to yoga or you come to run-walk with us, you get 20% off also. So, yeah. So thanks for coming. And if you want to write your email down, if you need some books.
we also have copies of Hiking Alabama and Hiking the Gulf Coast here. If you'd like to pick one up, they're $22.95. And I got some of the hiking through history here as well. So
That's
if you want any of the above,
What do you have your dog friendly hiking?
Leave your address up here.
I have to have it done by June. So it'll be the end of next year.
For the yellow flies, off deep woods works. I'm allergic to them, and I use off deep woods. I'm allergic to yellow flies, and so that's what I use.
Well, thank you. 'Cause we went to one place in Florida, and
what do you use?
Carried away.
Oh, okay. Sometimes it's the DEET. Sometimes I guess that's the only thing that.
Deep woods has more deep than regular.
Oh, gotcha. Hi.
New hiker.
Yes.
I have hiking boots that my husband and I hiked up to Avalanche Lake up in
God, they carry you off.
Glacier, and everybody was wearing Kings because they tramped out into the lake, in their
Right,
Kings.
you can get in the water.
So I've got a lot of those Kings.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, like the hikes that go into the water.
Right, like the Perdido River Trail.
Yeah. What kind of shoes? I mean,
Keens are great. I've hiked it in Chacos. But yeah, and I have hiked in boots. So they're going to get sloshy. So Keens or
I'd rather-
Chacos would be your best bet for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do some trails, and I'm wondering about a stick. I'm going to Utah. I'm going to Utah
Oh, that's awesome.
in next April.
Let me show you these because we have hiking poles.
Yes.
Yes, and they're so good. Oh, there's a doggy.
Post about the trail.
Hey. Thank y'all for coming. Hey, Woods. Hey. You're live, just letting you know. Yeah.
Everybody go Red Beard.
Thanks for the system. Yeah, it's awesome.
Anything you need, let me know.
Okay.
Real close.